Hi, I'm Joy, and this is Pilates Perspectives. Today we have Everly Bryant, who will be talking about how we can combat a lack of diversity in the Pilates space. But today, let's do a check-in, shall we? So today's theme for the check-in is expansion. So I'd like you to take a second wherever you are. If you're sitting in a chair, sit up nice and tall. Stack your head over your rib cage, over your pelvis. If you're standing up, that pelvis is up over your legs, right? If you're driving, your hands, please keep them on 10 and 2 and keep your eyes looking out on the horizon. Now, what I'd like you to do is get as tall as you can. Lengthen through the crown of your head, grounding, if you're sitting, grounding through your sitting bones. And if you're standing, those sitting bones are reaching toward the back of your heels while your feet are planted and growing into the earth beneath you. How tall can you get? And as you get tall like that and you breathe, on your exhale, can you feel that gentle hug or support through your middle that's actually helping to support the lift you are finding in the spine? So that's your length. Now let's find your width. Across your collarbones, across your shoulders, and across your pelvis. As you inhale, also think not just long, but wide. Just allow your shoulders to drape. So even if you're hanging onto a steering wheel, just soften your hands on the steering wheel. Let the arms drape. If you're walking, allow them to swing. And now let your breath be three-dimensional, not just long, but wide. Fantastic. You're finding all the space you have inside. Now, use it. So if you're driving, you might need to look in your rearview mirror and change it. And now the next time that rearview mirror doesn't look quite right, don't change the mirror, change your posture. Okay, today we have Everly, who is a nationally certified Pilates teacher known for her eclectic and multimodal approach. Her studio, Pilates Health and Dance by Everly, is located in Norfolk, Virginia. Everly co-founded Pilates Thick Sophisticate, a virtual Pilates studio. You can find her at Pilates by Everly, EVERLEA.com, or at Pilates Thick, that's Thick, THIQUE, on all major social media platforms. Welcome, Everly. All right, we're very excited today to be chatting with Everly Bryant.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
It's really exciting to have you here. Yeah,
Thank you.
and I get the great fortune of having you right in front of me. Like I can reach over and touch you, which back during the COVID days was
Not a thing.
No, my poor screen had so many fingerprints on it because I tried so hard.
Yeah, there was a lot of really interesting things about COVID. One of the good things, though, is that you could eat Oreos in meetings and people wouldn't be able to see. So, I did.
Could you do that thing where you pry the Oreo apart, though, in meetings, right? Like
yeah,
that?
it's, the pandemic was a wild time, so, but yes, it is really great to be able to be in person with people, to be able to see face to face. There's actual energy in the air around us. So being able to be around like-minded people, to be around people who are in health and wellness and aspire to make this world a better place. So those are the kind of folks I want to hang out with. So thanks for having me.
Well, me too. So we're happy to have you here. So the topic today, how to combat a lack of diversity in the Pilates space. So during the pandemic, this really was a highlight in the Pilates world. What's your recollection of that time, of how that sort of the fog of that started to clear?
Yeah, I was actually speaking with my partner about this yesterday, about the things that the pandemic kind of brought out and about. And I felt like there was throughout a lot of pain, there was some beautiful reckoning that was starting to happen at that time. People starting to see that other people may have different experiences than their own lived experiences.
Right.
And there was more empathy and compassion there. And so that's something really beautiful that happened in the pandemic. There were instructors who I'd known from their names being on books, from them being Pilates famous, that would reach out to me online and say, "Hey,
Pilates
I see
famous. Is
Pilates
that a
famous." That's, it's
thing?
one of those little things. But just would reach out and say, "Hey, I see you.
Right.
I see what you're doing. So glad that you're in the industry." I've had people just quietly reaching out and saying, "Hey, do you want a week of free classes at my studio?" I see that I'm recognizing there's a lack of diversity in my studio, or in even in my online space. Would you join us? Like, will you come? And it's like, yeah, thank you, for seeing me, and more of this for people,
Yeah.
in general, more of this for people in general. But one of the other beautiful things that happened during the pandemic was being able to have access to folks that were in other countries.
To have access. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, wow, I got to take lessons with Maria Earl, who I absolutely adore.
Oh
And
my God, so do
I've
I.
spent tens of hours with her now virtually. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her in person yet.
Oh my God,
But
when you
really,
do, it's going to be one big giant love fest. Yes.
so that's been really, really fun and wonderful since the pandemic. That part of our industry, the online access, the virtual access, has been really wonderful, so that folks don't have to necessarily be down the street from a studio to have access to high quality educational material.
I want to try to walk into the space and say something that I have not been able to articulate. But during the pandemic, there really was, like you said, a beautiful reckoning. I think that's a nice way to put it. There was this lovely, uncomfortable feeling of needing to look up and say, wow, we've as a Pilates industry, we've actually accomplished so much, right? Pilates post-COVID came out of COVID on like everybody's lips. But we really had to take a look at what we weren't. And we weren't really accessible. All of our education was oriented toward a very particular body type, which then meant it had a sense of exclusivity instead of inclusivity. And it was, I think, a hard time, but nothing changes without tension. I think it was such appropriate tension to help us move into a space that just starts to give people allowance for experience. And I think that's a wonderful place for Pilates, is to be a door that opens you into yourself.
Absolutely. I was sharing with some of the amazing Balanced Body staff earlier, just over lunch, that I am really grateful for the opportunity to be able to share with people my own lived experiences, like the things that I've been through over the 20 years that I've been in this industry, and the things that have not felt so good, the things that have been wonderful, and the reckoning, that beautiful, challenging reckoning since the pandemic. The image that came into my mind was, actually, I'm a mom of twins, so like birthing. There is a challenge to that. It's not the easiest thing in the world but that transition makes you a different person, and it gives you new experiences, new insight that I did not have.
Right. You see the world
I
very differently.
see it differently.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that I was bad or wrong before, or that I'm better now. The more diverse experiences that we allow ourselves the opportunity to be part of, and Pilates is that too. When you have the opportunity to create a healthy, safe space for people, it should be within your ability, within your training, but within your heart. It should be a place where someone can come in and feel like, you're going to be part of their wellness staff, like you're one of their healers. And that's how I feel in my job. I feel like I'm a part of people's team. They voice that to me. I very much feel that. And that opportunity to be able to be that for someone can only really occur if the door is open. So if I can't walk in, literally or figuratively, because of who I am, is it really a place of healing? Is it really a place of wellness?
Right. If it already has that barrier, right? If it already has sort of that very thick cell membrane, then how can it be possible to share, right? To really to really be an open space, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, you used birthing as an example, and I kind of think that's actually brilliant because it's sort of like, yay, you know, I'm pregnant, I'm going to have these babies, and you live in this world, and you sort of forget until it's almost too late that there's a labor involved.
Oh my goodness. And so I'm one of the, I personally only very briefly experienced labor. Whew, okay. Like that is tough stuff.
It's
And, I had this image, and I think many of us can for different aspects of our lives of like what my experience is going to be like. Like, this is what I'm going to do. When I'm 21, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then when I'm 25, I'm going to do this. And by the time I'm 30, I'm going to have this and this and this. I'm a deeply goal-oriented person. I'm a manifester. I love just envisioning the future. And you've got to be soft to the present. Like, you have to be aware that life doesn't necessarily follow your plan.
Envision your future, but be flexible on how you get there.
Yes. And so, yeah, with even just my experience with my children, there were some issues during the pregnancy. I had to have surgeries while pregnant. I was on bed rest. I was in a wheelchair for a while. And I was a professional dancer and a wellness person and vegan and all these things, you know, and those things are great. And we don't get to control every aspect of how life is actually going to happen. And so that process for me was beautiful and hard and was like, okay, I really have to take a deep breath and open my eyes. And maybe my gift in this life, maybe part of my experience is being able to experience different things so that I can be that person for people. Like when I have that senior walk in in a wheelchair or coming in a wheelchair,
you can really meet them with empathy.
I can really meet them.
Yeah.
So I've had crutches, I've had a wheelchair, I've had a walker for different surgeries and just things that I've been through in my life. I've been unable to walk for certain periods of time.
Oh, jeez.
And I got to record beautiful videos for you yesterday. So like my life has had these ups and these downs and these arcs. And because of what I do, and because I so passionately believe in diversity and equity and inclusion and meeting people in their experiences, I'm like, okay, let me reframe some of this. Like, it's not poor Everly necessarily. It's, I can empathize. I can see you. I can meet you where you are and try to help you to move in the direction that you want to go in and that I can see for you because I'm kind of an objective outside eye and a little bit too. You might not ever think that you can walk without that, cane, but let's go. Let's go on this journey together.
Right. So that's a big, lovely, wide space to talk about inclusivity and diversity. I mean, I think one of the first ways in which to talk about that in the Pilates world is first to start with diversity of practice.
Yes.
And you're someone who's nicely eclectic in your practice.
Thank you.
You practice, you have one of your mentors is Nicole Martin. You work with one of your mentors is Kara Reeser. What other mentors have you worked with in your?
Yes. You mentioned Nicole, and she is Jay Grimes' lineage, and that's been a fantastic experience. Kara Reeser is Kathy Stanford Grant lineage. That's been an amazing experience. I've also worked with the bulk of my traditional training has been with the Pilates Center of Boulder. So Amy Taylor Alpers and Rachel Taylor Siegel were my main mentors there.
Right. So all this DNA now,
staff.
all this Pilates DNA, you're starting to integrate.
Yeah. And being able to get a beautiful mosaic picture of what Pilates is and what Mr. Pilates over his spectrum of life, because it wasn't just a 2-year thing that he was building his practice. It was decades. And there were many people who worked with him over the decades. And so being able to really see the spectrum of Pilates, I feel like is really rich. And it can also help you the more you know, the more you can actually help people and meet them where they are.
So that's a rare and very beautiful way of looking at that, because very often, especially new instructors, will sort of look at sort of one strain and say, oh, this is the way you're supposed to do it, or this is the way you're supposed to do it, and then you'll come across and hear another voice, and it's almost, you can almost physically see like it challenges them to either let go and feel like they have to leave behind what they know. So the mindset of taking it all with you and creating a mosaic is I think when we talk about inclusivity in Pilates, that's one of the first things is as instructors, we have to be open to being more of a mosaic than a monolith.
And I understand, we've both been new instructors before, right? Once upon a time. And so I understand, in the beginning, to learn any new thing, whether it's how to drive a stick shift car. It's it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. You do it like this, and then you get on the road. Initially learning dance as a child, ballet, step 1, step 2, step 3. So I understand that way of thinking, and it makes sense that you want to start more simple. But there's a point after you maybe have a year or so of training under your belt, and you have a little bit more command of your subject matter, that then we can start to open our eyes and minds, and it won't get us confused because we're not taking in too much at one time, but we can see that, there's different perspectives. If I look at it from this side, when we're trained to teach, we walk around the clients. You don't stand in one spot because you're going to miss certain things if you're only standing in one spot. But if you look at them,
during the pandemic, we got pretty good at looking at the left knee and shin and saying, "What's happening in your right hip?" And they're like, "How'd you know?"
How did you know? Yes, absolutely. And so, that's even that point, Joy. That's part of the beauty, being able to look at something micro, being able to pinpoint and literally and figuratively zoom in, and just really be targeted. And that part is attached to the whole. And so the more that we're able to broaden that lens, it makes you a better instructor. It makes you a more compassionate instructor. And it's honestly really good for business. We do this because, we enjoy it, but it's also our careers.
Right.
So
it's our careers.
It's important that you operate in a balance between, I do this because I love it, I enjoy the movement, and hey, it's nice to be able to accrue money from taking care of people.
Yes, I could take care of people, and it could take care of me.
Yes, and so, but that's the thing. If you are putting on your own mask, you can put on the mask of the person next to you. If you take care of yourself, you can take care of others. I think it's really important for us to take care of ourselves. There can be even in the healer industry that we're in, we can get so focused on externally that we end up, being burnt out,
depleting ourselves.
And so even in that, kind of bringing it back to the mentors, being able to dedicate to a private lesson with Nicole every week helps me to dedicate to myself. It helps me to learn more about Joseph Pilates. This is my chosen industry that I love. And so it helps me to learn more about Joe through the lens of Jay. Spending time with Kara and her team, being able to learn more about Kathy Grant and her lens and what she learned and took away from Joe, and how she was able to adapt that and make it her own. I love Kathy Grant's work because it can be really challenging for, I would say, most people nowadays to just walk into a room, stand up tall, squat down to a mat, and start the 100. There's things that maybe should come before, and there's before the 100 work that she created to really help the body feel ready for this beautiful work. It's not to take away from the work; it's to enhance it and to literally bring it to life. And when you have those people who are coming in walkers, in wheelchairs, or pregnant, there are some things that are just not wise to do. But if you learn one way, that it starts like this and it has to start like this, there's so many people that get left behind.
Right. If there's only one way to do it, there's many people who will be left behind.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting and lovely way to look at it. In terms of Kathy Grant, sort of her legacy. Why do you feel it important to study Kathy's legacy?
Well, Kathy is one of only two people that Joseph Pilates actually certified to teach Pilates. And I believe that's an important note for people to know. A lot of times, women, people of color, and a woman of color, that legacy, that language can be pushed to the side or made less important because she was not her in herself, someone who wanted to be center stage in that way. And that is not an insult, just a statement about who I'm learning Kathy to be and her story. She was there to empower, to enrich. And it's important for me.
Isn't that the role of teacher?
Yeah, that's
empower and
enrich. And so if there's somebody who comes in who needs a little bit more softness and nuance, they have a lot of pain, it would be insensitive of me to try to force them into
doing it only one way.
Yeah, to doing it only one way.
Yeah.
I need to meet them where they are. And when I've got those athletes who come in who from session 1, day 1 are ready to go, it's nice to, again, like have some of that other work in my background so I can say, okay, I'm going to give it to you this way. And it's almost like, like herbalists, and people who, mix their herbs to make the perfect blend for that person in front of them. I feel like that's what Pilates is for me. Being able to learn more backgrounds, I can look at the person in front of me and I can prescribe their movement to help to empower them to move, to feel better, to change their life. And that's, my style and my approach. But that really works for me, and it's been really healing to the people.
Right.
I have the opportunity to work
having
with.
done the heritage training as well, and knowing Kathy's before the 100, that's where that lives. It really does live in sort of creating the experience to help someone find.
Yeah, you did that program too, right?
Yes, I did, to find their doorway in. And it really, for me, it really speaks to, again, creating the empowerment and the awareness. Like that's our role as teachers,
Absolutely.
right? We really at this point shouldn't be center stage. It really should be our clients' experiences that are center stage.
Yeah, like how can I help you?
How can I help you? Yeah.
When you look at those intake forms, kind of Pilates 101, like Studio 1-on-1, the intake form, what are your goals?
Yeah.
Like what
do you hope to achieve?
What do you hope to achieve? And then when I meet someone, I try to make the first session a little longer so that we can talk for 15 minutes and it won't eat into your time. What are some of the things that you're struggling with right now? Oh, I live in a 2-bedroom, 2-story house and I can't go upstairs. Okay. Note to self.
Right.
This client needs help with this movement. And then you can go into some of that before the 100 work and see how, what are some of the protocols that Kathy had for the hip, for the knee, for the foot.
Right.
And then I can go into the Jay Grimes and Archival Joe approach to, okay, now we're going to go to footwork and we're going to do it like this. Get all 10 of those toes on that foot bar.
Get them on that bar.
Get them on the bar. Even if your little toe is really little, get it on the bar, and let's empower your feet and your knees and your hips.
Yeah.
And if someone is a dancer, and I work at an art school teaching Pilates as well. So some of these young artists, they need to be able to move their bodies and feel controlled, but free. So I can use some of that, some of Kathy's work there as well, because there's some prolific work, the side-lying kicks going into the fan, like there's some prolific work there, but I can also use some of Ramana's arm work. It's just knowing more really helps me to be able to help people with wherever they are and what they need.
So again, having that lens or having that mosaic gives you the tools to say, here, I'm going to choose this for,
it's like
or
being
I'm going to give this gift today.
Being an artist and having
offering.
a big, having a
big
palette. Yeah, a big palette. And you've got this canvas, this gorgeous canvas.
Every client is a new canvas.
And so you get to help create this beautiful artwork with them. And you can use different shades and different tones.
Did anything, as you came into Pilates, did anything surprise you? Anything you didn't expect?
Well, yes. So Pilates was a required course for me. I went to college for dance.
Uh-huh.
And so I had to take Pilates. And I, up until that point, had just danced and done like yoga and traditional like weightlifting. And so I was very confused at why these people were just on the floor because it was Mat Pilates class and it was at 8 o'clock in the
What are
morning.
they doing rolling around?
What are they doing rolling around on the floor? Like I don't understand. But then over the weeks, I didn't know that I had some knee pain until it wasn't there in the same way anymore.
Oh, interesting.
I'd had injuries, as dancers, we get, broken and bruised and things like that. But I felt stronger and more empowered. I had a lot of hypermobility. And so I was able to feel that those areas were able to heal and to come together. So that's kind of initially, but it's also, Pilates has brought a lot of beautiful richness to my life. It has given me the gift of entrepreneurship. It has empowered me to make a beautiful living for myself and for my family. It is how I help to heal people. I always knew that I was going to be a business owner, like as a little kid.
I thought you were going to say, I always knew I was going to be a healer.
Yeah, well, but I knew I was going to be a healer, kind of. So I knew I was going to be a business owner because I knew that I wanted to have a dance studio that had like movement. And I wanted to have like people work there with me and be a part of my team. Like I knew I wanted that. And then when, I thought that I was going to dance until I turned 40. I turned 40 this year. I was going to dance until I turned 40 and that I was going to stop dancing and go to med school. And so I knew that I wanted to be a healer.
You were planning on starting med school at 40.
Plans, y'all.
Wow.
Like when I tell you I had plans, like everything was written out, which in some ways is amazing. But then, as I was saying earlier, in other ways, if something doesn't go according to plan, that can be a little disheartening. And it's okay to mourn losses and like perspective. Like where is the gift in this situation? Is where is that silver lining? And so I have a practice. Like I don't
Right.
personally.
You don't have a medical practice, but you have
I don't
a practice.
have a medical practice, but I have a practice.
And you're a healer.
And yes, exactly. I'm a healer and doctors send their people to me.
That's right.
I collaborate with medical professionals. And so I've found I'm achieving all of my goals differently. Some are pretty exact and some of them are different. And so being willing to look at things and kind of shift your lens keeps you soft. It also gives you peace because life should not feel like every day is
heavy.
Is heavy. There are heavy days. Absolutely. And I think part of the beautiful thing about being a Pilates educator, instructor, teacher, we're literally the healers. Like people come to us sometimes multiple hours a week because we make them feel better in their minds, in their hearts, in their bodies. It's on my mind, so I'll share it. I have a client who has been coming, every day recently, every day. And I was like, I love how dedicated you are. And she's like, I'm here because I like it, but this is also my therapy. This is how I'm taking care of my mental health. My family is, from this area of the world, and I've lost, tens of family members in the past 6 months. And it was like, oh, okay. Like Everly, you're here for people.
Right. The space you create for them matters in so many ways.
And so it really, I knew that I was there for people, but it really helped me to see like, oh, like your mourning losses. And
I don't know that we can even really calculate or understand how the space we create allows for the client to have their experiences, right? And much of that is emotional as well as physical. And then I guess, speaking to the topic for this conversation, like, how do we do that for more people, right? Pilates has been pretty homogenous and has been sort of like pinned with the stereotype of being for wealthy white women. How do we encourage diversity in our Pilates wellness spaces?
I think it comes down to curiosity and humility. Curiosity, not in a fascination like people are subjects, but curiosity as in there's something that I don't know here. Let me be willing to learn. and let me be willing to be humble to someone else's experience. Before I was a mom, before I was pregnant, before any of those things happened, I was a professional ballet dancer. Like, my experience was flexibility, excellent health, and looking good. Like, that was my experience.
Right.
And then I got pregnant, and I had to be in bed, and I had to be in a walker and in a wheelchair, and I had to go through all these different things. And it's like, oh, this is a different experience. Like, I'm going through it, but I didn't necessarily have to go through it to be empathetic to someone else's experience. And so I would say to other instructors, when someone walks into your studio, into your room, like, be present, like, as the instructor, as the front desk staff, like, whoever's that first encounter, be really present. At the risk of being controversial, don't be looking at your device. Be looking up. Be looking out.
Looking at your device.
Looking up and looking out.
Yeah.
And so that if someone comes in and they look nervous or scared, or if they come in and maybe they're wearing different clothing, maybe it's cultural clothing, maybe it's, everyone in the room is wearing really high-end expensive stuff, and they come in and they're not, like, make people feel welcome, like, right away.
See them.
Right away.
Yeah.
And so I think many instructors do it. I know that I do it when I have a male client come in for the first time to a group, especially. There's a little bit of the group, it'll be 10 women and one guy. And so you kind of go, hey, welcome in. And, like, you give a little bit of, hey, here's some extra props. You give a little bit of care, not that you don't care for all of your clients, but they're having an experience that's maybe a little bit different in the same room at the same time, but maybe a little bit different for X, Y, or Z.
Right. So it's almost like allow or create a space that allows for the client to have their own experience.
Yes, to have
right?
Their own experience.
If somebody is coming in and maybe they need a bolster or an extra prop, make sure it's there for them. They're not looking around or feeling like they can't do it.
My other point of advice is being really careful with being aware of the words that you use with your clientele, and avoiding things like bad and stop. It's like, well, try this, or let's try this. Oh, okay, that. Now try it like this. Like, just trying to figure out a way to make someone feel like they're a part of the group and not being excluded from the group. There's so many ways, but it really just comes down to treating people the way that you want to be treated. Most of us don't like feeling othered. Most of us like feeling like we're a part of wherever we are.
Right.
Welcomed into wherever you are. And so to create that environment in your own energy, I think is actually easiest. It's, maybe you don't have a room with lots of different bolsters and lots of this and that. That's props and accessible materials are important. And over time, if you have the money and the funds, you should do and get those things. But what really matters first is that you empathize with the person's experience.
Right, right.
And so somebody knowing that they're seen, that makes them feel safe, and they will be back and they will share it with other people. And so then you're able to start healing your community in addition to creating safe space for diverse populations of people.
This episode is brought to you by Balance Body. Balance Body isn't just about making Pilates equipment. We provide in-depth, research-backed teacher training and an unmatched Pilates experience for our customers. Whether you're refining your technique, recovering from an injury, or deepening your practice, Balance Body products are built to support you at every step. Visit Pilates.com and discover the tools and education that are helping people move better and live better worldwide. Let's explore that not wanting to be othered. Again, I think in that period of time, sort of that beautiful reckoning period of time, there was, I'm not othering people. Like my space is open, my space is available. Mm-hmm. I'm not stopping anybody from coming in. Like,
I understand what you're saying. I'll share an experience that I went through. I when I was living in Maryland years ago, I wanted to go and take some Pilates classes in New York. I was like, it's the birthplace of Pilates. I'm going to go to New York City.
Go to New York.
And so I planned my trip. It's me, so planned it out. Got on the bus, got to New York, and I, ahead of time, I emailed the owners, and they knew that I was coming and that I was an instructor and that I was excited. And when I came in for the lesson, the woman had me me and only me get a towel to put on my mat before I laid my head on the mat because of my hair.
Okay.
Yeah. So
let's have that conversation.
Yeah. And that felt really odd and awful because there's nothing wrong with requiring all of your clients to grab a towel because they may sweat or because of what products they may have on or whatever reason. If everyone's doing it, you don't really have to explain too much, actually, because this is what the rule is for your studio.
Right.
We wear grip socks at our studio. You can have things that you do and that you mandate. But when I went through lots of effort to get here, to this place, physically, literally, figuratively. And I get there and I am immediately othered, upon entrance. And that did not feel good. And that same, woman, I mentioned that I had wrote emails prior. I was like, hey, I'm coming and I'm an instructor, but, you have equipment that I'm not trained on and I want to learn from you. I'm excited to come. Had what I thought was a nice rapport that we'd built prior to me making it to New York City. And, on top of me having to grab a towel and I walk in and I'm the only person with one, that did not feel good. But I'd booked a private lesson and she told me, when I got there, well, I want to see you move first. So you're not going to do your private today. I came to New York City for a private lesson. She put me in a group class, with my towel. But I'm like, well, maybe this is the intake for this studio. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. And then at the end of it, she's like, well, I when I got your email, I was a little, intimidated by your experience. But after watching you, I can see that you need some work. So yeah, I'll see you for a private tomorrow. And I'm just like, no, you won't. You won't. What's even happening, right now? You are a healer. You are someone who's been doing this for a long time. And I literally came to you because you know more.
But what is that, right? Because that is a thing. That's a thing.
I think that was fear. I think it's fear. I really do.
Fear of not being able to address your body, your needs.
I think that if fear of not knowing what to expect, fear of the unknown, fear of the other.
Or was it insecurity? By listening to you.
And I think it could have definitely been some of that
too.
She was feeling some kind of way about her own background, but it's
maybe
hey,
she wasn't going to be able to.
You don't have to feel anything because I literally am coming to you from states away.
Yeah,
you are the leader in this situation. I am asking for you to be even.
Right.
So you don't have to take me down any notches.
Right. Why do you have to take me down?
Yeah, you don't have to take me down because I'm lifting you up.
Right.
You can also just see me for as someone who wants to learn from you. And I learned
as peers.
Yeah, as peers. And maybe you could have been my mentor.
Right.
I'm willing.
Right.
But
and you're open.
Yeah. And
sometimes I think openness could be intimidating. Do you know what I mean? Because it's an authenticity. You're very authentic. You come into a room and it's I feel like I know you, right? And we've had 3 conversations, but you have that sort of really beautiful, open, authentic way about you. You envelop the world in a way that's just lovely, and not that's also a skill as well as a personality style.
It's a skill that and most skills are built up over time. When I've had.
I'm sure you've made the choice to be that person.
I have made that choice, and part of it is my nature. I feel like I am who I am. I am somebody who wants people to feel like they are a part of a community. I grew up with a massive family. My mom's the youngest of 12. So I grew up
12. I always say you buy a dozen donuts, a dozen
yeah,
kids.
yeah, a
Woo!
dozen kids. So I grew up
I don't really
around
always say that, by the way.
so many people, people who were, most people were older than me. I had cousins and peers, but like I grew up like with reverence, deep reverence for people who are older than me, deep reverence and deep respect. And you speak to them a certain way, and it's not out of fear. It's literally because you care. They've been here. They've been here for so long.
Yeah.
I grew up going to a dance studio where we volunteered at nursing homes and senior centers. And so I would go and perform and give energy since childhood to people who were older than me, in my family, outside of my family, meeting people where they are, getting to know them a little bit. And so that's very essential to my core. I do believe that all people, regardless of your age, your ability level, deserve dignity and respect and fun.
And fun.
Heavy on the fun. I'm a pretty serious person. And at the same time, a lot of traditional studios are like, no music. If I have someone coming in and there's some tears in their eyes because they're going through whatever they're going through before they came into my room,
right?
I'm like, what's your favorite genre of music? And I put it on and we'll just jam out for a minute. And then, we'll hug it out. And then maybe we get into some Pilates.
Again, meeting them where they are, right?
Yeah.
And giving them and approaching them with care,
and
which
so,
which opens the door, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's when you said safe spaces earlier, I think those are really the keys to creating safe spaces. Safe spaces isn't a thing that you do.
Yeah.
It's what you bring.
I literally created the studio I wanted to go to. That was my business model. It was where would you feel empowered and safe having a practice?
Right.
And I built that.
Right.
And one of the first feedbacks that I get from most people, male, female, younger, older, when they walk in, they look around and they take a deep breath in. Almost every single person. Oh, it feels good in here.
Right.
Thank you.
That's the energy that you bring.
That has been cultivated.
Yeah, I think I do think that's an important point to bring out because when we say creating a safe space, I don't believe that means you're literally creating a safe space. Our spaces should be safe, but what we're creating is an environment that is welcoming, empowering, authentic,
Absolutely.
caring, right?
And we care about that in other areas and aspects. We'll literally pay $100 more for a dinner if there's beautiful curtains and nice music and ambiance. We do this.
Right. This is what we're attracted to.
Yeah, we're attracted to positive experiences.
Right.
And so I do, and my literal degree is in performance. And so it's there is an art and an element to creating a scene, to creating a place for people to come into and feel oh, I'm somebody. Yes, you are. You are somebody here.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to be good at all the things you're good at here. And you also get to learn how to be better at the things that are hard.
Right.
This is
actually,
going to be
it actually invites people into exploring the things that are hard.
Yeah.
I was not a dancer. And what I actually loved about choosing work that is a little difficult for me is that I was choosing to do something that was hard.
Yeah.
Because I was curious about what it could bring.
And that curiosity opens up so many doors. You'll meet people due to the curiosity, right? You develop deeper friendships because of that curiosity, and just really caring about individual people's experiences. And you can do that whether it's a private lesson or whether it's a group class, because again, the thing that's most important for people is feeling welcomed into the space.
Right.
It's,
So let me ask you a question. She hands you a towel, doesn't hand anybody else a towel. Immediately, that's a sign, right? That's one of those things that almost sends, just hearing you say it, it sends a little shiver down my spine, right? And
I remember asking her what it was for, because I was like, oh, is this for my face and my sweat during the workout,
Right. She's like,
it's
no,
for
you're-
your hair.
It's for your hair. Right. Boom.
Oh, okay.
So many times, and I'm so guilty of this. You know, I tend to I always say I lead with goofy, and I'm gregarious. So I will, you know, get very familiar with people very quickly,
Mhm.
and I am sure I have tripped over myself and said things where that I should not have said, or done things I shouldn't have done. But what I find, and it goes back to authenticity, is if you're sort of authentically yourself and you make a miscalculation,
Mhm.
that's one thing. But if you're othering, like that's a whole other experience. And that experience is so alienating and foreign. It's almost like foreign to our psyche.
Yeah.
It puts us in a corner. Or
Yeah.
that's what it feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely can feel like you're being put in a corner, like you're being punished for something that you didn't have any choices over.
For who you
the matter.
are.
Yeah.
For who you are.
And one should not have to apologize for who they are either.
Right.
And so, you know, rather than if Pilates equipment is expensive. So if you want to protect your equipment, you can have rules like everyone brings a towel. No one wears jewelry. Like that's fine. That's fine. But don't
Watch your
allow
zippers,
those.
no back pockets.
Yeah,
zippers.
yeah. Don't have some clients that you treat one way. And other clients that you treat another way. And especially if it's a brand new person. I mean, I don't know if I can, like, I'm sure I've kind of driving this home. This was 10 years ago. Like this was, okay, I'm 10 years into the industry, but I'm newer to, you know, this approach, and I really want to learn from you, and I'm excited to meet you, and I'm excited to learn from you. Like that person and other people individuals in my past have come to me, you know, with energy that if I had just taken that for what it was, I would not be sitting in this chair with you. I would not be talking with you.
Right. You'd have walked away.
I'd have walked away.
Yeah.
You know, so many times. But it was like a deep feeling of knowing who I am, which, you know, is part of why I'm here. And also, like, people shouldn't have to be taken to like their deepest depths of dark night of the soul to take Pilates. You know, like we should, we should give them just respect. It really is just, it's respect. It's also just thinking about how would it feel if you walked into a room and most people maybe you know, the obvious is like don't look like you, but maybe they'll just have a different accent than you have, like, or maybe they're speaking a different language. Like it can feel, you know, exciting. Your nerves are on, but also like, am I cool? Is it right? Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and so letting people know that they are okay, and not just okay. It's nice being tolerated. That's cool. But like that they are actually.
I don't know that I want to be tolerated.
Yeah, well, but you know,
my kids tolerate me.
But to be like embraced and welcomed, that goes a really, really long way. And you know, the women who come into my studio who feel embraced and welcome, you know, they end up bringing, you know, their husbands, you know, and then they're training, and then their kids come. It's like you end up training and being a member of their extended family in a way, just because you created safe space for one person. You treated with respect one person, and that turns into 4.
Right.
And that turns into 5.
Pays it forward.
Yeah. And so it benefits everyone.
It benefits everyone.
It really does.
Right. What is the negative of that?
There is no negative.
Like if we are just good stewards and care for each other, and like, you know, then the world would be cleaner and people would treat each other well.
If we just throw away our, you know, our trash and don't throw it on the ground, like that is helpful to everyone.
Right. And it sets an example for the next person who says, well, maybe I shouldn't throw that there. I should throw it in the bin that says recycling, right?
So we have the opportunity, especially those of us, you know, who have facilities or have training programs or have you have some power to be an influencer or an influence in a way.
Right.
Those of us who have that power and have that influence, let's use that for good. Like, let's use that to make sure that children feel safe, to make sure that seniors feel safe, to make sure that male clients feel safe, female clients feel safe, non-binary clients feel safe. Just create a space where people
where they can
be.
come in and move,
Yeah.
right? Where they can move. It's
Yes,
not
that's our goal. That's our goal. At the end of the day.
that's our goal. And they shouldn't feel like, once that lens is on you as other, it's like you can't not feel it or see it. And it's
Yeah.
so inhibiting,
Yeah.
Okay. So many people ascribe like great powers to Pilates. It's gonna bring world peace. It's gonna save the universe. It's gonna, and maybe it will, maybe it will. But I think so much of what you're saying and where you're coming from this is actually it. Those great things can start in small ways.
Yes. And if we have more peace within ourselves and we're in the world can become a more peaceful place. If we are mentally, emotionally, physically in pain, we're going to have an energy about us. We're not going to feel so great. And I empathize with that deeply because I have been physically unwell.
Right. You've been there.
I have been there.
Yeah.
And I can speak from experience that did not feel great, to feel those lows in life. And I can also say with honesty that going into a wellness space, going into a Pilates class, going into a yoga class, when I was in those vulnerable states and the teacher met me with like compassion and curiosity and love, that made my whole week.
Just you saying compassion, curiosity, and love, your face lights up. Like because that just comes from within. And I would, I can't imagine that any client that you come across wouldn't just sort of walk in and feel that warmth and be like, oh yeah,
No, it
take
really
this
is
ride.
it really is my goal.
It's your
And it
superpower.
disarms them.
It's your superpower.
Thank you.
I'm convinced of it. It disarms them. What does that mean?
Well, because it's a very vulnerable thing to move your body. A lot of us grow up not moving. I mean, I grew up moving my body, so it always felt kind of, okay.
There's a lot of
natural.
judgment associated
For
to
sure.
it. Yeah.
And, especially in certain cultures and communities, and especially for men, just kind of as a whole, I will generalize in that way. I've created stretches over time just for my male clients to introduce them to their pelvis. Like, just like this area of your body is, but you can't kind of go in for the kill with that information because it sets off the I can't do this alarm. But starting with something simple like a hip hinge. Yeah, just do that a couple times. Doesn't that feel nice? And maybe we kind of, so tell me about the baseball game with your grandson.
Right.
And we're moving the pelvis a little bit. And then by the end of it, they're doing hip circles and have healthy mobility going on. It's because I disarmed the situation. I ask for permission, even if I've known you for 5 years. Hey, coming in for a touch. You know that I'm here, I'm coming in. So you feel physically safe, you feel seen. And over time, it's my style. I learn my clients. I have very regular people. So I know the names of their family members. I know when they're...
Right. We know a lot about them.
I know that your wife had a dialysis appointment on Tuesday, and I'm going to ask you about that.
Right.
And so, people really do feel the love, and that's why they come back. And I don't train just one kind of person. I don't only want to work with children or athletes or only seniors. I specialize in people. You want to
work with
I specialize in people.
You want to work with the spectrum. So, what can you discuss your project? And I'm not going to be able to say it. So
I'll tell you. So, my project is Pilates Thick Sophisticate. And so it is
THIQUE.
Yes, THIQUE is how you spell thick. So look us up on YouTube. My best friend, Keiko Nevers, and I started Pilates Thick about 2 years ago. And she started off, and still is, a client. She was looking for a client who she would feel safe around. So she told me, I came to you because I was looking to see if there were any Black female instructors. I wasn't aware if there were any in the area.
I wasn't aware that there were any in the area.
She had no idea, but she's like, let me just look it up before I just drive to the nearest studio. And she found me and she read my bio and she's like, okay, like this is a professional that I want to work with. And over time, we've been working together twice a week for 4 years. And, I've had a very positive impact on her life as far as health and fitness. And she's had a very positive impact on my life. She's an amazing businesswoman and just an inspiring human. And so we developed a brainchild of a Pilates and lifestyle brand that is curated specifically for Black women, but all people are welcome to the channel. It's a space that is a safe space for Black women. The introduction to the channel. Whenever you click on a new video, you'll see people that look like you. Your hair texture, no towel required. And we're not monolithic. Women are not monolithic. Black people are not monolithic. But there's also some certain things of maybe there's some high blood pressure in your family. Maybe you have it and you want to know how to safely navigate with your health consideration. Maybe you've gone to Pilates class and everyone in the class was very, very petite and the teacher, and you were offered no modifications, no assist, no support, nothing. And it's like, this is a space where you're going to get to start at the beginning and learn how to pick up one leg at a time. And this is external rotation. This is turn in. This is turn out.
So it's an empowerment tool.
It's an empowerment tool. And about half of our episodes are Pilates, and the other half is social current events, lifestyle. We'll share about Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses that we support, that we like. And so it really is a place for women and for Black women to feel like, hey, like I'm not in a space that's centered for others. Like I can feel really safe here. And again, everyone is welcome. That is, I have a woman-owned, Black-owned Pilates business in Pilates Health and Dance by Everly, and half of my clients are male. Mm-hmm. I have staff members from all different backgrounds. I have male teachers. Everybody is welcome, you know? And so, and there are people who have been systematically disenfranchised and kept out of spaces, whether it was on purpose or whether it was intentional or not as directly intentional.
Are you talking about, listen, we could have a big conversation about society. You're talking society at large. You're talking particularly in our
society at large and in
Pilates
our
spaces.
Yeah, in our fitness spaces. I've been in the industry for 20 years now, and it wasn't until 8 years ago that I had my first teacher of color. I was 12 years deep into my career.
Wow.
Before I met my first teacher of color, and that was Blossom Crawford. Hey, Blossom. That was, I went to a workshop, Blossom. And I walked in and I saw her, and she looked up and she saw me, and her eyes lit up, and she walked over to me and she gave me a hug. Like that's like a core memory. And she's like, hi, sister. And it just felt so good to like feel seen. That's what I mean, like to feel welcomed into the space, because we were the only two brown people in the room, and yes, she was the presenter and she's the leader, and like, she's a human and likes to connect. And that felt so good to me. And a couple years later, during the pandemic, I got to have lessons with Maria Earl online. That was my second time having a teacher of color and my first Black teacher ever. I'm talking 14 years into the game at this point, 15 years in. That's a long time, y'all, to be in an industry and to feel very isolated.
Marginalized.
Yeah, and
really.
marginalized. Yeah. In my training, in my dance program, I was the only person of color, and I experienced some discrimination from my peers and from my teachers in college. Like it happens. Whether or not you have directly experienced something does not mean that it's not happening to someone else.
Right. Do you feel that's changing? Do you feel that's changed?
I do feel that it is changing. And that can also be because of the people that I surround myself with. I'm not saying that there aren't areas that can absolutely use help and need some support in that. I have seen a very positive shift. Even though I've been in the industry for a long time, I did not grow up with a lot of, money or anything like that. So I had to get my Pilates education, over time,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't have the money to do it all at one time, the
Right.
first time through.
Right.
And so in those experiences, it felt nice being able to, afford to come into the room, but I still would be the only person kind of in the room. But now last year I got to be a presenter and attend my first Pilates on tour, which was fabulous. I had never in my life seen so many presenters of diverse background in one place. I have never in my life. It was such a gift. Like, I don't want to get emotional. Such a gift. Because 20 years is a long time.
20 years is a long time to feel like you're the only
Yeah.
one in the room.
And so it is changing. I know it's changing. I can see it. I can feel it. And there's always work to do. And especially in our current, if you're listening to this in 2025, there's a lot happening,
There's a lot
this
happening
year.
now, yes.
And a lot of what feels like erasure
Mm-hmm.
and kind of being put toward the back of the proverbial bus again. So be aware of that too, is my other encouragement. Like be aware of what's happening societally, what's happening,
Yeah.
around you, so that you can have more empathy when you meet people.
We've been talking very globally up until now, but let's talk a little specifically. Like, one of the things that's very important to me is that we don't go back. I don't
Yeah.
care, and I don't want to get political, but I don't care who's sitting in the White House on either side.
Mm-hmm.
If we are really to be healers and to create these beautiful spaces where people can come and empower themselves physically, that 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 should have no boundaries.
Absolutely. It should have no boundaries. And our jobs are getting more important, not less important,
Yeah.
as people may be losing their health care, as people may be losing their access to essential services. What can you do? Each individual one of us, like, what can you do? What can we do to have people feel empowered and
Right.
seen and create healthy space for them? That's part of what Pilates Thick Sophisticate, is. That was a labor of love and an expense for my partner and I. And we did that for you. Like we did it for the world.
Right.
It was our
Right.
gift to say, hey, you deserve well-planned, curated, customized, thoughtful education. And you deserve access to something like real and good. And even if this is the only Pilates you will ever experience in your life, like, know that it is thoughtful. It was a thoughtful gift, a thoughtful, intentional thing that we've done, so that you can feel like, hey, like, yeah, I'm somebody. Like, I'm worthy of this attention, of this time, because, yeah, I feel like everybody deserves that. I really do. I genuinely feel like all people deserve dignity and access and good clean air and good food and, just the ability to move and to feel free. And so it's really a gift to be able to be in the industry and to be able to provide that, even for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or for an hour, once or twice or 3 times a week, to someone. You really are changing lives. Like, we're changing lives, y'all. And so if you have the opportunity, if you are in an area where maybe there's a community of people nearby you, where there's languages that are spoken that you don't speak, and you look around and say, hey, my whole staff doesn't speak the languages of the communities that are around me, and no one in my staff is representative of the communities that are around me. Therein lies your opportunity. That is how you can make change and make a difference, whether it's reaching out specifically to the community, whether it's offering donation-based class or a drop-in class or a scholarship, or seeing if there's someone who wants what we do, who wants what we have, who maybe is a part of that community, who can be a delegate, a liaison, like, someone who can really help to bridge those gaps. I grew up in Florida. I'm one of the only bilingual people in my family, because I grew up hearing Spanish, and I was like, oh, I should learn how to speak that. because
Did you teach yourself?
no, I started in elementary school. I started taking some classes. I took Spanish all throughout middle school. I took it in high school and started as a minor in college. And so I can read Spanish and write it and speak it decently well. It's been some years now, but I've traveled to Panama. I traveled to Mexico. It's like, get to know people like on their terms, in their space, like get to learn their culture and language to the best of your ability. Like, stay curious.
So you're answering what my next question would be, which is
Yeah.
for people who feel underrepresented or even excluded from our Pilates spaces, like what would your advice be? So reach out, right?
Yeah, I would say to reach out, and I would say, putting all of the effort on the person who's been marginalized is not necessarily the best approach.
Right, right.
I would say most cities have local chapters of most organizations, NAACPs, of disabled persons having their own groups and communities. Like, email, go to the website, reach out and say, hey, I'm Everly. I own a business here. I would love to offer services on this time and day for free to people from your community. Is that okay? Like, would you be interested in that? And it can be 1 hour, 30 minutes. Once it can be virtual. Like, it doesn't have to be anything specific. But if we as the healer people let people know that the healing's available and you make it accessible, they're going to come. And even if they can't themselves, they will send other people to you. There have been people who come into my business who are like, yeah, my daughter lives in Chicago and she saw your business and then booked our sessions and now we're here.
Fantastic.
Like, it's not always because of some direct outreach that I necessarily did. It's because I showed up as myself and I put on the website, on my, like, I'm all abilities, all ages, and it might be that you have to work one-on-one. One-on-one's fun anyway, but if you have very specific things that you need for your body, it might just need to be one-on-one. But, group and community is so beautiful. Building these seniors groups that I have in the studio, some of the people who are the elders of our society are very lonely, and don't necessarily have a lot of community around them because of, just the way that we move now. Like, we're all over the country
so
and
building communities.
Yeah, creating space for people to feel like they've got sisters and brothers in a way, like they've got some family outside of the studio. People know when their classmates have a doctor's appointment, they're like, hey, checking in on you. How'd everything go on Tuesday? Oh, it warms my heart so much. It's like, more of this. This is what we need.
I want to sort of start to, like, there's so many beautiful thoughts and so many, your approach again is just a very open-hearted approach. Our spaces still are in places where they are accessible to mostly people with money right now. How do we keep opening the door and seeing everyone? And that's always been a question that I've had. Like, when you see images and they're the imagery now is far more open. You see all ages, all body types. You see gray hair, you see dark hair, you see no hair, you see tattoos, you see no tattoos, you see all skin tones, all shapes and sizes. And I know how important imagery is in saying, oh, I see myself. You walk into a studio is just a space. And if you were to give one piece of advice to a studio owner in welcoming clients of color or clients who might just not be of that particular studio's demographic, what would that be?
Yeah. I have like a very vivid image in my mind. I grew up in a really lovely dance studio, and I was one of the only children of color at the time. And when I walked into the dance studio for the first time, there was an Alvin Ailey picture on the wall with two prolific dancers from the 90s. And I just looked up and I was like, wow, and
There I am.
There I am.
Right.
Like, I'm there. That's so cool. And I was like 5, so I didn't have words for it or anything like that. But it was representation. Even though there were not other teachers that looked like me, the atmosphere welcomed me in. And even though the peers didn't look like me, there was still a welcoming in. And so I would say if you have decor, if you have pictures up, be diverse in that. Don't have everyone looking the same way. Everyone with the same ability. Like show people that this work, that even the traditional work has over 500 exercises. There's so many exercises. There's something that everyone can do. And so highlighting that, I think, is really important. So that's like a decor kind of idea. But then as far as, if you have a studio that has equipment and has props, have those items available. Have pillows, have bolsters, have wedges, create space for people to be able to show up with their kyphosis, and be able to put some pillows behind their neck so they can breathe and hear the information that's
right. We're coming back to
them.
this idea of see them, meet them where they are, right?
And so I said just a little while ago, it's like our meeting grounds are everyone breathes air, everyone eats, and everyone sleeps. And so
a few other things.
Yeah, a few other things too. Yeah, but it's like it's not very hard to get to know someone or connect with someone. Start with something really foundational. And one of Joseph Pilates' quotes is, breathing is the first act of life and the last. And it's like, that's so true. Like everyone, this is a mind-body
Everyone
practice.
will have their first and last breath.
Yeah, we all are breathing. We all have to breathe. And in Pilates, it's literally a breath practice with movement. And so like really diving into some of those equalizers, we're all breathing. Let's all breathe.
Right.
And let's learn
we have
how
more
to do that.
We start to learn we have far more in common.
Way more.
Yeah.
Way more. So that's my feedback. It's just really to dive in and focus in on those commonalities. And when there's education that's available to you about special populations, about seniors, about children, about osteoporosis, like if there's information that's available about teaching people with different body types, being culturally sensitive and aware. I shared earlier with someone that I've taught groups of Orthodox Jewish women where no men would be allowed in the space. And like, can you create a space that is specifically for the people for whom you're working? Like, do you care enough to create that safe space, even if it's not a space that, like, I'm not Jewish. I deeply respect your needs, and so I will. You let me know what they are, and I will accommodate.
It's funny. I'm envisioning a client that I used to have, who is also a dear friend of mine, Barbara Kornreich. And one time she came into my studio and had this bell on the door, and I could still hear the bell, and it opened with a big flourish. And she came in and she shut the door, and she just went, it's my red tent. And I was like, okay, I've created a safe space.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, I have a couple of quick ones for you.
Yeah.
If you had one word, what is the impact of Pilates on the individual?
Healing.
Okay. On a community?
Empowering.
Okay. Rapid fire questions. What's your favorite Pilates exercise and why?
Favorite exercise on the reformer is control arabesque or control balance step off, because it's really hard.
Yeah, those are not easy. Those are,
It challenges. It's like the full method, right?
Yeah.
It's the full
it's
method
all there,
at once.
right?
Yeah.
All at once. Fantastic. What's your least favorite Pilates exercise and why?
Oh my goodness. For the longest time, you all, it was roll up and like the neck pull. And it's because I have twins. I had a C-section. I had 2 surgeries while I was pregnant. Oof. I've had an umbilical hernia repair. Like I've had like 5 or 6 pelvic surgeries. And so deep flexion exercises were really hard because those muscles had been cut.
I'm so happy you have your C-shaper.
Yes, I have my C-shaper. Like it's an amazing tool. But, so now, the exercise that I just said is my favorite it's a culmination of me.
For you guys who were not part of that conversation, we had an earlier conversation around the C shaper.
Yes,
so
and
I'm
so yeah, it's
sorry.
a fabulous apparatus. If it doesn't matter if you're classical or contemporary. Like if you want to learn how to do the 100 better, do the roll up, like anything that requires a C spine, that's an amazing tool. But the roll up was really, really humbling to me for a very long time. When I was pre-kid, because I had a really deep low back curve and couldn't, flex well, and then post-kid because my tummy had been cut so many times. So, but now it again, when you just dive into the practice, it gets better.
Okay, now if you can give like a really fast definition of Pilates, you're at a cocktail party and someone says, "What's Pilates?" What would you say?
Mind-body work developed by an amazing immigrant to the United States of America that he gave as a gift to a diverse group of people.
Okay. Where do you see Pilates going in the future?
I see it expanding. There's so many expressions of Pilates and reformer fitness, Pilates, those types of things. And I feel like it's going to continue to grow in popularity, grow and grow and grow. My hope is that we remember the root and the origin of Pilates, because it's really fun to be able to bend and break rules when you have the foundation.
Fantastic. Everly Bryant, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
And thank you all for joining us for Pilates Perspectives. I'm Joy Paleo, and this has just been a wonderful conversation. We wish you all the best.
Thank you, Joy. Bye, everybody.